Hey everyone, this is Kevin with Kevin's Mega Fleet. Today I've got a Micro Galaxy Squadron review. We're taking a look at the Series 7 Starfighter class rare Darth Maul's Nightbrother Gauntlet. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the figure, at the vehicle, at the packaging. We'll do some measurements and we'll do a comparison. Let's go ahead and dive into the review. So let's start with the packaging. As you can see here on the side, this is Series 7. This logo here is white. It stayed the same now from Series 6 to Series 7. I don't know if they'll stick with that. I did like the different colors when they did those, but for whatever reason, it's white and maybe it'll stay that way. So down here on the bottom, you got Darth Maul's Nightbrother, number 147. The one thing that is important about this is you can see the sticker right here that shows the rare one of 15,000. So that has, as you'll see with the back of the box for some of the other vehicles that we have in this specific series, it's actually in the wrong place on the back of the packaging relative to what they've done in the past. But this is definitely one of 15,000. You can see up there on the top right also the media source that this comes from, which is Star Wars Rebels. And then you've got Maul. You can see him going in the cockpit. As we turn this thing around to the back, we get a chance to see the other features of this specific vehicle and what it can do. And then again, you have your other vehicles that are in Series 7, also with your chase vehicle that is your 1 in 5,000. On the bottom here is the UPC. So the UPC is the same for all of the Starfighter class. If you have one, you've got them all. But if you wanted that, that is that. Let's go ahead and break this thing out of the box so we can take a look at the rest of the packaging as well as the vehicle and the figure. So let's go ahead and start here with the figure. So here is our Darth Maul. So this is the same sculpt that they've used for Darth Maul from Series 1 to then the Sith Infiltrator in Series, I think it was 4 or 5. And then now we get him again here in Series 7. So he's got the lightsaber on him. He's got the fantastic detail there in his actual cloak that he's wearing. I mean, kind of everything about this figure looks really, really nice. It's very difficult to obviously do the paint on the face, which I guess they have not worked out, as well as just the horns there on the top of his head. But overall, again, fantastic. So that is our Darth Maul. And he is 1 inch tall. So now let's go ahead and take a look at the Gauntlet itself. So this Nightbrother Gauntlet, this is one of the vehicles that I would say is likely the most out of scale relative to what it should be and what the other vehicles are that we have in this line. But it is really, really cool that we do get this specific design. I had originally gotten one from Series 2, which was the original Gauntlet that came out with the idea of doing this. And then once I ended up finding out through some leaks that this was coming, I abandoned that idea, and I'm very glad that I did because this thing looks great for what it is. So let's go ahead and we'll start with just the deco. So you can obviously see here the red that's painted on there, as well as the white. So it's the white that's painted on actually. So this dark gray material right here, that is the actual plastic of the vehicle. All of the rest of the colors are painted on, at least on this part. It looks like here on the wing, it might have the red is actually this color. That's the actual color of the plastic, and then the gray is painted on. But either way, it looks like there is some spots there where the paint just kind of bled over a little bit as it was painted on, which, you know, is what it is. But the colors do look really cool, especially relative to the other gauntlets that we got. And then as we turn this thing around, here is what the underside looks like. And so the wings are the same on both sides. Oh, no, they're not. They're actually different. So they are different, unlike the other gauntlets where they're the same. So you could really just flip this thing around because the cockpit rotates, which I'll show here in a second. Then you get a chance to be able to see all the rest of it. You get the two little engine glows there, and then that little ring, red ring there on the back. And that is it. So now if we look at this from a features perspective, the first thing is you have your opening cockpit. So this does fit just one figure in there, which is pretty easy to stick Darth Maul down in it. And then you do have the wings that rotate as well. They have this really satisfying little click when it gets into place, which is great. So it's not like a continuous arm, which can typically wear out after time. But that does look really nice. And then you also have the cockpit area here will also spin. So that way you could turn it like this and have it flying right at you that way, which is pretty sweet. And this guy will turn all the way around 360 degrees. So that's where you get a chance to see the underside of it. And you could just change the deco appeal if you wanted to do that, depending on which side you like the most, if you wanted to display it in this specific position. It also does have a landing gear here on the bottom to be able to open up. Now, one of the things I noticed with the Gauntlet when we originally got it is the front tips here. So you've got this front tip, which is actually a very soft, rubbery type of a material, as well as this front part as well is the same type of a material, although it's just a little bit firmer. Those are done from a safety perspective. So it's kind of unfortunate because it does take away from the actual full appeal of the whole wing looking combined in one piece. But, you know, it is what it is. Got to protect everybody. So let me grab the other gauntlets because I do want to show these all compared from one to the other. So the first thing that we have here is our Series 2 version. So then we have our Armada version that came, I believe, in Series 6 as the Starfighter, where we did get the blue and the updated deco on Bo-Katan as well. We did get Bo-Katan with all of these too. And then now you have the Nightbrother. Pretty cool to see them all lined up like that. I do like that we do have 3 different versions of this. You know, I think from a scaling perspective, again, it would have been nice if these were scaled just slightly bigger, but alas, they are not. So let's do a couple measurements here. So if we're looking at this from front to back, this is about 6 inches. From side to side, it's about 6 inches. And then the height here is like, I don't know, 1.5 inches. Now, I do want to show this as a comparison to a couple other vehicles in the Micro Galaxy line. Oh, actually, that's a good point. So the way I just set that down, you can see this is really only designed to have that landing gear function correctly when the wings are up in their landed type of a position. So if you were going to set this down on the table like that, it just won't really look very good. But I do want to compare this to some other vehicles in the line. So let me go ahead and grab those. I'll be right back. So the first comparison I want to do is the Gauntlet next to the X-Wing. So this should be a pretty large vehicle that, you know, has multiple, you know, people that you can get inside the cockpit. And you can see here that that it's roughly the same size. Now, there are some differences in Mandalorian vehicles where they do have some that are the same style as this, but are just a smaller size. So, you know, you could go that route and say that that's what it is, but relative to what we're actually getting in the show, it's obviously much smaller. And then I wanted to show this relative to the Sith Infiltrator. So this is actually a custom 3D printed stand that I've got. So you can see now what this looks like relative to that. That's a little closer to the size that I would have expected this to actually be, as the Gauntlet's closer to the Sith Infiltrator. But, you know, again, it's not. So not a huge deal. It is great that we are getting this cool deco scheme, which is something that, you know, is unexpected. It's cool to have this as the rare as well. So this should be pretty available for anybody that's out there trying to get this on the secondary market. Be careful about spending a bunch of money on this early on. They will be widely available. The 1 in 15,000, especially in the Starfighter class, have been relatively easy to find and will roughly drop down to about 30 or 35 bucks here after they really start to hit the market. So that is all I've got for you today. Thanks for tuning in. I look forward to catching everybody on the next review.